I'm coming up on 2 years in Las Vegas, and all I've ever done is trash talk it. And rightfully so. Las Vegas is super wasteful, so much so that I had to make 2 whole videos about it, about separate things. You can check out the wasteful things I hate about Las Vegas, linked above and below. But I'm moving away from Las Vegas soon, and I didn't want to leave a bad taste in my mouth or anybody's. So today, we're gonna talk about some eco-friendly things that Vegas actually does. And I'm surprised. I thought of probably 10 to 15 things. I thought I was gonna think of like 3. So I'm gonna do my absolute best not to mention any of the bad things because we've already done about that. And when I was writing this, I felt like when a parent tells you and your siblings to like say something nice to each other after you guys get into an argument, that's what I felt like writing this because it was very hard to come up with nice things to say about Las Vegas. If you're new here, my name is Emma. Welcome or welcome back. I talk about all sorts of things zero waste, focusing on free, easy, and fun ways to live low waste and practical ways to be an activist. Let me know also down below what wasteful things you hate about your city and what sort of eco-friendly things your city actually does right. I did do some versions of this when I lived in Japan, and I do still want to compare living in Japan versus living in the US. Let's just go ahead and jump right in. These are in no particular order, just the way that I thought of them. The first one is that there is solar energy galore in Las Vegas, and thank goodness, because gosh, it's cloudy here maybe 10 days a year, and even then it's only like slightly overcast. It's never like super cloudy, super rainy. It's the desert, so we should be harnessing the power of the sun, and we are doing that. When you go southeast out of Las Vegas, like towards Phoenix Hoover Dam, so many solar fields. And when you go northeast out of Las Vegas, like towards Salt Lake City, there's also some huge solar fields up there. They also make it super easy to install solar panels on your home. And when I say super easy, I mean like no HOA is gonna deny that. They make it really accessible in the fact that you can go to just about any solar business. There's solar businesses galore too in Las Vegas. It's probably expensive. I don't know because I'm a renter. I can't put them on myself. But even if you're renting, even if you can't afford to put solar panels on your own house, you can still qualify to use solar power either from like your neighbors or individuals selling their solar energy back to the state government, or you can use from the solar fields. And we actually just did that. I don't know what it took to qualify, but basically if there's any solar energy left that we can use, we're going to be getting some solar for our last few months here. We're not going to be here much longer, but during that time we are going to be able to be using some solar, and it was really easy to qualify for that. Next, of course, we have to talk about water. There are some super strict water laws in Las Vegas, probably all of the desert, and I think they're even stricter in areas like California. That being said, here's what the water laws entail in Las Vegas. So as residents, we can only water our grass or water any of our landscaping certain days a week. In the summer, we get to water them more because it's so hot. Plants will literally burn. Literally, they need so much water. In the winter, we're only allowed to water 1 day a week. Even then, I don't think we should, but they've also in the last few years dictated where grass can and can't be. They still allow residents to have grass wherever they want within reason. Public parks are still allowed to have grass, but places where you can't have grass anymore are like in front of a business. I don't know, an example. I guess if your McDonald's had a patch of grass in front of it and it wasn't serving as like a dog park or a park for kids, that's pointless grass. Other things are grass like in medians or on the sides of roads, like where you might see some landscaping on like a boulevard or something. All of that grass has been removed. Not all of it. They're in the process of removing it all from the city. All grass that is not serving a purpose for animals or people. They're either replacing it with turf to keep that grass look, which I think is dumb. If you want green grass, move to the Midwest. I'm already trash talking Las Vegas. But for the most part, they are replacing the grass with drought-friendly plants, which we're going to talk about more in a bit. They also have pretty stringent rules on pools and car washes as well. Car washes recycle water, and this is actually something really interesting I learned last year, is that car washes are actually more eco-friendly than washing a car in your driveway. And they also take pretty good care to catch all of the chemicals that come from soap and the oils washing off of your car so as not to put them back into our waterways. Water in Las Vegas is upcycled. And if you're thinking, that's disgusting, think again, because your city probably does it too. So many cities recycle gray water, and they have the facilities that do this in a clean way. I guess the short version is all of our dirty water goes to a water treatment facility plant. They put it in a centrifuge. A centrifuge is this giant machine that spins the water super fast so that it separates the liquids from the solids. All the solids go away. That clean-ish water then goes to be treated with things like, I don't know, however they treat water. I'm obviously no water scientist. So that water can go back and be used as drinking water, shower water, cooking water, or they recycle it on golf courses. I'm quite confident all of the golf courses in Las Vegas use recycled water. which is great. I'm not allowed to talk about how much I hate golf courses in this video. You can check that one out up here. And then all of the recycled water goes right back into Lake Mead, so it has another chance to like go back, be reintroduced to the other water, and then be treated again when it's pulled from Lake Mead. So it's like double treated, I think. I'll try to leave some sources down below, but as far as I know, all of our treated water goes into the Las Vegas wetlands, which goes into Lake Las Vegas, which goes into Lake Mead. And then we'll eventually come back through our faucets. I kind of think that's a little bit of a silly process because Lake Mead is like really far from Las Vegas. Maybe not really far. It's a decent way to pump water to and from. I don't know why they wouldn't just pump it directly back into our homes. If anybody knows the answer, please let us know down below. Moving on to the way that they build homes here, I think is really, really good. Homes are super well insulated as they are in very hot climates because when it gets to be 120 degrees in the summer, that's gonna take so much energy to cool your homes down. But this summer even, I would turn my AC off during the day and just let my pets in the house. It would get pretty warm, but it like never inside my house exceeded 80 degrees, which is still pretty toasty. Don't get me wrong. I'll throw the AC on when I get home to make sure that we're all comfortable, but that's still a 40-degree difference because the homes are so well insulated. But that's mostly due to the heat in the summers, and it works really well. Another really great thing that they implement to, I want to say all of their homes. I've seen them implemented everywhere I've gone, every person's house I've been to, driving by, whatever. They are these little sunscreen things. So it's kind of like a normal screen in that it prevents like bugs and other things from getting into your home if you open your windows, but they're also tinted and like woven really, really finely so to keep the sun out. Because I guess they could tint home windows. That would be kind of funny. These are nice, not only for privacy because no one can see inside of my house, but also it prevents a lot of light from getting in, enough so that I don't really use my lights during the day. I'm still able to reduce my reliance on electricity while the sun is out, but at the same time, it's helping keep my home cool by not letting too many warm sun rays get into my home. And of course, that doubled with the blinds, doubled with the insulation, that's what really helps keep our homes cool during the summer. Now back to the temperatures in the winter. I wanted to talk about this. Now, this is an eco-friendly thing of the desert climate. This isn't, nobody in Las Vegas is controlling this, but I wanted to talk about it anyway. Las Vegas is the perfect climate for me. I love the heat. I love the dry. But also I think it's a great climate for people who want to reduce their reliance on energy. And that is because summer is really only the miserable time of the year. It's opposite of most places. Like we're all hibernating in the 3 months of summer when it's 120 degrees, and then the rest of the year it's amazing. So spring, fall, and winter, it is such a nice temperature here that you rarely have to use your heat and electricity. And I mean AC. Right now, it actually kind of warmed back up. It was like 20 degrees for a while, and that's when I was using my heat pretty religiously. But now it's back up like between low 40s, high 50s, low 60s. So I just leave my heat off, I leave my AC off, and just let nature do its thing. Again, our homes are really well insulated, so if I turn the heat on to get warm, my house is gonna stay warm-ish for the rest of the day. And of course, I throw on sweatshirt, socks, pants, blankets. I do that stuff too. But for the most part, I don't use a lot of heat or AC during the year. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about transportation. Something I do like about Las Vegas, I don't see it too often, but there are several park and rides, which basically everybody just meets up at these park and rides. You park your car, and then you can carpool to work easily. So these make carpooling super easy. Instead of being like, okay, I gotta drive out of my way to my friend's house, and then drive out of way to my other friend's house, and then backtrack to get to work. Everyone just meets at one central location, and then you take one car to work or to wherever you're trying to carpool. Dan actually utilizes this for his work. I should have jumped on that earlier, but I didn't, so I don't carpool to work. No one's perfect, okay? So I do like that that encourages carpooling, especially in the city. The city has such an urban sprawl. I'm not allowed to talk bad things. But because of the urban sprawl, I like that they do encourage carpooling in this way. And another way they encourage carpooling is the HOV lanes, which is a high occupancy vehicle. I'm trying not to say bad things. This isn't a bad thing. This is just a fact. 2 people in a vehicle count as a high occupancy vehicle. So it doesn't really encourage carpooling that much. Like Dan and I going on a date night counts and we can go in the carpool lane. Bike lanes and sidewalks are also becoming much more widely available, which sounds crazy, especially if someone who's probably living in like Europe or Japan or even like parts of Canada. They're like, what do you mean you don't have bike lanes? Las Vegas has pretty bad bike lanes. The area of town that I'm living in, pretty decent. Summerlin's pretty good. Basically the whole west side of the city is the newer part of town, so the bike lanes there are pretty good. Even trying to walk in the strip area of town, it's so difficult, and like that's the metropolitan center. But older parts of town like North Las Vegas, Aliante, they don't have great bike lanes, and many parts of town also don't have great sidewalks either. Because the city is designed for cars, like it's only, I don't know, maybe 2 miles to drive to my local coffee shop, but it's 3 miles to walk or bike there because I have to avoid highways as a pedestrian. But yeah, I can't say bad things, so we're gonna leave it at that. Something else I like about Las Vegas and was pleasantly surprised about is the amount of green spaces that are here. We have a local park in my neighborhood, and even then, there's probably 1, 2, 3 other parks that we can walk Denahi to. Another one that's just down the road is Floyd Lamb Park, which is a great green space with like ponds and wildlife and such. But even like in the neighborhood areas and on medians and the sides of roads, there's so many plants. A lot of them are palm trees, which are not native and are water suckers. But for the most part, a lot of the plants are native or drought resistant. A lot of them do come from the Mediterranean, which are drought resistant plants, things like rosemary and the Aleppo pine. Other stuff like agave, Joshua trees, cacti, sagebrush. What else we got here? Not many true like Mojave desert plants are in Las Vegas, a few of them. When I heard I was moving to Las Vegas, I'm like, it's gonna be a concrete jungle and it's gonna be tan and no plants because it's a desert. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that there's a lot of plant life here, which of course sequesters carbon and keeps the city cooler. I'm not sure how much because a lot of our landscaping too is rocks, not so much grass because of the water crisis, but pleasantly surprising the amount of plants that are here. Speaking of plants, they're also incentivizing removing grass. I know we talked about grass a little bit. What this means is they're incentivizing residents to remove their grass. We don't qualify because our little lot of grass is not big enough. And of course, we could remove it ourselves, but we don't own the house. I don't really feel like spending thousands of dollars to upgrade someone else's house, even in the name of water conservation. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you would do down below. But if you qualify, I think they give you $1,000 or so to remove your grass. So that way you don't have to pay anything. Then it's also cutting down your water bill. So yeah, if you're in Las Vegas, definitely look into that removing grass incentivization. Dan also let me know that they are incentivizing electric vehicles here in Las Vegas by giving you like an electric price cut. Basically, if you use your home to charge your EV, they're gonna give you a little tax break to make your electricity costs less instead of being so reliant on fossil fuels. And I think this is particularly important in Las Vegas. Obviously, it's important everywhere, but Las Vegas is a bowl. And because of the way pressure systems and temperatures work with elevations, Las Vegas being the very bottom of this valley, all of the pollution stays trapped in this valley. And it gets so gross here. And I think that's why I have sinus issues, honestly. So the less pollutants we're putting into the air on purpose, the better, not only for the planet, but also for our own health, breathing the dirty air in this city. Okay, so these last few, I wanted to include them anyway, even though they are a bit of a stretch. The next one being that many of the buses in this city, not very many of them, because public transportation is not good here, they're run off of natural gas. So natural gas is not great. It's still a fossil fuel. I need to do more research about it, and I really want to make a full video about what natural gas is and the environmental impacts of it. But from what Dan and I understand, it is a bit better than like unleaded gasoline or diesel. So it burns a little bit cleaner. It's still not great, but hey, I guess it's a step in the right direction. The next one is that a lot of food is grown locally, maybe not right here in Las Vegas, but in places like Southern California, Arizona, which is still surprising to me. And I talk about that more in my Lake Mead videos that I've made that will be linked above and below for you. But basically this cuts down transportation costs as well as emissions to ship food to us. So that's definitely mainly like produce, and there's also a lot of farmers markets in town as well as local farms. So if you're in Las Vegas, I highly recommend you check out places like Gilcrease Orchard, The Farm. I know there's a farmers market, it's kind of by Boca Park, and there's another one up here in Sky Canyon. And the last one I want to talk about is public lands. The Las Vegas area out west in general is really good about setting aside public lands for conservation and preservation efforts. This also just gives people easy access to public lands and an opportunity to get outside, and I personally think that going outside, getting connected to nature will help you want to preserve nature even more. This being said, this is another video that I need to do some more research on, and I want to talk about more because our public lands are stolen lands and they are not going to be given back anytime soon. I'm a big proponent in land back efforts. I think Indigenous people have some great wisdom that would come with these conservation and preservation efforts that these lands are set aside for anyway, so why not let them help us and let them return back to their homelands instead of giving them the least desirable land in the state. Again, I want to talk about that more. We don't have time to talk about it today, but that's just, I wanted to add that in here because I think public lands are great, but I think they are quite problematic as well. And if you want to learn more about that, I really, really recommend the podcast Hello Nature. It's just a short little podcast about this woman, Misa Youssef, traveling to, I think it's 10 national parks throughout the country and talking about all the intricacies about people of color and Indigenous people in regards to our public lands. But that is all that I have for today. Thank you for watching, and I think I did it successfully. I talked badly about a few things about Las Vegas, but I stuck to mostly positives, and I did it without having to like just grin and bear it, you know? I did it with an open heart. But don't forget to go check out the videos about the things I hate about Las Vegas. There are plenty of them. And please, please, please watch my videos about Lake Mead, whether you live here, you live in the US, or you live anywhere else in the world, because I want to say if, but it's more of a when Lake Mead runs out, it is going to become a global problem. 80% of the water goes to agriculture, so if the lake runs out, we're losing so much agriculture in this country. So many people are losing drinking water. People are going to become climate refugees soon. So please watch those videos as well, educate yourselves, share that video with others, and let's do what we can to save Lake Mead. Yeah, if you're in Las Vegas, reduce your water consumption. Everybody reduce your water consumption. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Again, let me know what things you hate about your city and the eco-friendly things that your city does right. I have been to a few eco-friendly cities in my time and I envy them. So if you live in a super eco city, I would love to hear about it. Maybe give me some inspiration on where to move next. Speaking of moving, it's finally official. I'm so excited to talk about it. We are moving to Spokane soon. We'll be living in an RV for 6 months, and we're not really sure what's going to happen after that, as we are separating from the military, both of us. So that being said, a video similar to this will be coming in the near future about wasteful things that I hate about Spokane and eco-friendly things that I love about Spokane. I just like to do this wherever I live, as I feel like not a lot of environmentalists move a lot because it's not a very eco-friendly thing to do. But being in the military and still being young and not knowing where I want to live for the rest of my life, we've been moving around a lot. So I just kind of want to evaluate every city I live and talk about it and just, yeah, that's it. Anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. I'll see you in the next video, and until next time, remember that your small actions have a big impact in the long run. Bye, guys. Oh yeah, that looks better. I didn't think of an intro. So the less we're